So last week, PlayStation Plus was upgraded to include tiers of basic, extra, and premium. And with those was a number of PlayStation 5 games for the extra and premium subscribers. While scrolling through, I was made up to find that they had Assetto Corsa Competizione, a game I've always wanted to play. So I've downloaded that and going to give that a try shortly. So it'd be interesting to do a comparison between that and Gran Turismo 7. Of course, both have the same idea. They're both driving simulators, but which one really reflects real life the best? So going to have a little look into that now around Spa-Francorchamps circuit and see which game is the best on PlayStation 5.
So here we are on Gran Turismo, coming up to the bus stop chicane in the BMW M6 GT3, which is a car also on Assetto Corsa, so should give us a good comparison. We're playing in ray tracing prioritized mode for that best graphical fidelity, and coming down now into the first corner, which is this tricky hairpin. And I'm just going to take this nice and easy on this lap, nothing too exerting, just to give a demonstration of A, the graphics, and B, the physics, really. So first of all, graphically, I mean, the Ardennes forest there surrounds us at Spa-Francorchamps, rendered in fantastic detail. The track's fantastic, and in general, you know, the weather and the lighting is just superb. You can't really ask for much more graphically on this generation anyway. It'd be nice to have seen the 120 frames per second mode, but maybe that'll come with time. So we're just turning into this corner now, and everything's very, very controlled, very, you know, precise. Nothing too much to worry about in terms of car control. Little step out there, but that was me putting on the power too soon. And then down into this tricky, very, very long right-hand corner. And try and get into third gear on the exit of here to keep the car stable. Brake into this one, and down the hill. So observations are the sound. I mean, it's not that punchy really. I mean, it's there and it does a job, and it's not the worst sound in the world, but I don't feel like it's you know, particularly loud in my ears, shall we say, compared to other racing games. But physics-wise, everything's very, very stable. There is a bit of a challenge. Well, a lot of the challenge, particularly when you're driving probably a lot faster than this. But like I say, it's just for demonstration purposes. But I mean, it's just nice. It's a very nice game to drive. I mean, I was very impressed with this when it came out, and I've saw a lot of the criticism online. But I think in terms of the gameplay, it's absolutely fine. I mean, people moan about the online, yeah, but Gran Turismo Sport mode, I mean, that's pretty good. The online lobbies, I believe, are quite broken, which I can't comment on. I've not been on a lot of. Generally, just go on sport mode if I'm going online. But I mean, it's overall, I found this to be a fantastic game. Really enjoyed playing it all the way through over the past few months, really now. So just going to come down into this bus stop chicane, down into first gear, and overall that was a fairly dramaless lap. Can't really say much more than that was an enjoyable experience. So I'm just going to switch over to Assetto Corsa now and undertake exactly the same lap in exactly the same car, and just give us a little bit of a comparison between the two. Switching to Assetto Corsa here, and first things first is hear that engine noise go. Wow. So just making our way out of the pit lane here. Immediately the sound is far superior. I feel I can hear all of the different noises the engine's making and the car's making. And it actually is quite intimidating to put this power down now after I exit the pit lane and make our way down that same straight. So immediate observation straight away, oh, this is a lot more intense, which might be reflected in my voice, because this is a lot more intense. And keeping the car on a straight line is, you know, it's not so much of a challenge, but it's more of a challenge. And immediately I can feel that 4-speed back in the wheel here. I can see the camera shake, and it's immediately more realistic, and I feel a lot more immersed going down here into this tricky left-hander. Let's see how this compares. And immediately I'm fighting the wheel a lot more, trying to keep that power nice and consistent out there into third gear, back down into this corner. And yeah, the amount of fight the steering wheel's given me here is quite significant compared to Gran Turismo. I was quite calm and collected on that, and on this I'm a hell of a lot more intense. In terms of pace, I mean, it feels pretty similar. I'm going through the same sort of gears, and I'm going through fifth there as well. But there's just so much more in terms of physics and just feeling like you're alive at the wheel here. And I'm really having to fight the car a lot more, and the experience is a lot more intense, as I keep saying. Graphically, I think Gran Turismo does have the edge, but this is 4K 60 frames a second, and it's a lot for 60 frames now. I believe on the PS4 it was a little bit, you know, infrequent on the frames, but this is just this really good 60 frames experience now. I've got the racing line on because I'm not used to this game just yet, but I do know this track. But it's just the way it takes this corner here, like there's a lot of movement in the wheel. I'm really fighting the car, but I'm feeling a lot more confident as well in a weird way. I just feel like much more in control of the car. So let's try and do a comparative lap anyway, down into the bus stop, down into first gear. I've overshot that quite a bit, but it doesn't matter because this is our lap that matters coming up now. So let's just go for it. Applying that power, getting the gear changes right, and down into this first chicane. Looking again to brake around the 75 metre area, brakes, down through the gears, and then apply the power. And my God, can you feel that power? This game's just so much more exciting, and I think that's the difference between this and Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7 just feels cold and sterile. This feels raw, like it's going to try and kill you at any moment. As we go through a ruse, just fast stepping on, rubbing up to the car. It's fantastic. It's so much more of an experience than Gran Turismo 7 this. This really is much more realistic. My experience of driving really fast cars is quite limited. I've done a couple of driving track day sort of experiences for a birthday present. I drove Ferrari 458 and a Nissan GTR, but this feels similar. You feel like you could hurt yourself, especially if this had VR. You'd be absolutely terrified going through these corners. But there's definitely a greater sense of peril in this game. You can get it wrong in a big way and you'll be spat up, and it takes a lot more control. I've gone massively wide through there, but I'm really having to fight the wheel. And the sound is just so much more intense, so much more immersive, and it's just brilliant all around. I can come down into this left hander. Let's try and take some serious speed through here. Wow, I've overshot it, but never mind. There we go, getting told off for the lap invalidated. But like I say, this is my first couple of times on this game, so this won't be perfect to say the least. But I mean, in terms of excitement, this just absolutely batters Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo's got a lot more content and stuff like that. We can really see why this is now the official esports game as we go into the new year. Gran Turismo's been dropped recently, which is part of the reason why I want to make this video, because I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about. So we're powering down now, so much more movement on the wheel, so much more from the force feedback. In terms of force feedback, it's about 15 to 16,000 times better than Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo feels dead compared to this. As we fly through here, oh, this is so much more satisfaction, we're getting it right. In Gran Turismo we did a 227? Something like that, so that's the time to beat here. It's going to be quite similar. Okay, 229, so we're 2 seconds slower on this, but what an experience. I don't even want to stop. It's a magnificent game, this, and one for sure that over time, if you got good at this game, it'd be so satisfying, and it makes you just want to go more and more in depth on the simulation settings, taking on most of this. This doesn't have stability control on now. I'm using manual gears, but I am using a little bit of traction control. But yeah, this is way better than Gran Turismo. There's no two ways about it. It's a joy to play this game.
That was that then. The comparison between Gran Turismo 7 and Assetto Corsa Competizione. Of course, only one track in one car, but as you could probably tell, the experience on the Assetto Corsa was superior, to say the least. I think with Gran Turismo, of course, it's a really good game with loads of content, and it's really fun in its own right. And if games like Assetto Corsa didn't exist, it would be absolutely the best simulation game out there, or Simcade as it's sometimes referred to. But this one really is a simulation. It's very close to driving, and like I say, there's just a lot there to take in when you're driving that car. There's a lot more intensity on your senses, and just generally feels so much more alive. And I think that's the difference between the two. Gran Turismo feels sterile and cold, but fun. But Assetto Corsa is an experience, and you know you've been driving on it. As you can probably tell now, my adrenaline's still pumping. What a game. Fantastic. And yeah, that's my recommendation now. Assetto Corsa is the place to be when you're driving on PlayStation 5.